G20 Summit took place in India on September 9th and 10th, 2023. In the lead-up to the summit, there was much focus on Putin and Xi choosing not to attend the meeting. Observers believed that their absence was a direct affront to India and would ultimately overshadow India's presidency and its G20 objectives. But as the summit came to an end, it was clear that India's objectives were not derailed, and three key themes emerged: consensus, inclusiveness, solutions. Russia's war in Ukraine loomed throughout India's presidency and had divided G20 countries. It was unclear if and how the conflict would be addressed, and whether it would prevent the agreement of a final G20 communiqué. However, after 300 bilateral meetings, 200 hours of negotiations, and 15 drafts, Modi and his team were able to bring consensus on the Russia-Ukraine paragraphs in the final G20 communiqué. As part of India's positioning to be the voice of the global South, India shepherded the African Union's inclusion as a permanent member of the G20. India also pushed for major reforms at global institutions, such as the World Bank and International Monetary Fund. India successfully promoted its digital public infrastructure plan as an exportable tech solution for financial inclusion. While it's unclear whether other countries are capable of replicating India's digital plan, it has found a niche that goes above and beyond simple capital financing. In the end, India's diplomacy demonstrated its ability to take on current geopolitical disagreements and represent those countries who have felt marginalized for decades. Before we proceed, kindly return the favor and give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe and activate the bell notification feature to stay up to speed with all we have in store for you. Big economies of G20 ended the summit on 10th September 2023, overcoming deep divisions over the war in Ukraine to produce a consensus document and move forward on issues such overhauling institutions like the World Bank. G20 nations agreed that states cannot grab territory by force and highlighted the suffering of the people of Ukraine, but avoided direct criticism of Russia for the war. The declaration was seen as an apparent softening from the position that the G20 took last year, when it condemned Russia for the war and demanded that it withdraw from Ukraine. Host India, along with Brazil, Indonesia, and South Africa, played a key role in avoiding a fracturing of the G20 over the Ukraine conflict. The African Union was formally made permanent member of the G20 in order to make the grouping more representative. The entry of the African Union would provide greater voice to the global South within the G20, where the G7 countries have long played a dominant role. The move also came after the BRICS, another group dominated by China and Russia, was expanded to include Saudi Arabia and Iran among other nations, which was seen as an attempt by Beijing to make it a possible alternate to the G20. India, the US, UAE, Saudi Arabia, France, Germany, Italy, and the European Union signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, to establish the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor at the summit. These countries announced plans to set up rail and ports links between the Middle East and South Asia, and eventually to Europe. The Biden administration is seeking to counter China's Belt and Road push on global infrastructure by pitching Washington as an alternative partner and investor for developing countries at the G20 grouping. The G20 leaders agreed to pursue tripling renewable energy capacity globally by 2030 and accepted the need to phase down unabated coal power, but stopped short of setting major climate goals. The group did not provide any plan to amend existing policies and targets in order to achieve the target of ramping of renewables. Narendra Modi launched the Global Biofuels Alliance in the presence of US President Joe Biden, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, Argentina, President Alberto Fernandes, and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Brazil, India, and the United States, as leading biofuel producers and consumers, will work together during the next few months towards the development of a global biofuels alliance, along with other interested countries. For Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the leadership of the G20 has been a year-long opportunity to showcase India as an influential diplomatic and economic power, and drive investment and trade flows into the world's most populous country. It has also provided him a platform to boost his standing at home as he seeks a third term in office in elections in the next several months. At the end of the summit, PM Modi held a series of meetings with visiting leaders, including German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, President Lula da Silva, President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol. The Indian Prime Minister held a bilateral meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron on Sunday, after which a joint statement was issued. The statement said India and France will collaborate in the Indo-Pacific and in Africa, in areas such as infrastructure, connectivity, energy, biodiversity, sustainability, and industrial projects. Following the meeting with President Azali Assoumani of Comoros, who became the first chairperson of the African Union, AU, to sit at a G20 summit after the AU was formally inducted into the organization on Saturday, Mr. Modi said that Comoros is important for India's maritime vision, security and growth for all in the region. They also discussed ways to enhance cooperation in areas like shipping, trade, and more. The meeting between PM Modi and US President Joe Biden have highlighted the fact that US sees India as a capable partner in space technology. The US has also recognized India as a partner for artificial intelligence, semiconductors, supercomputing, high-performance computing, and quantum computing. The two nations intend to undertake a mid-term review of ICET in September 2023 to continue to drive momentum towards the next annual ICET review, co-led by the national security advisors of both countries in early 2024. In May 2022, the US President Joe Biden and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi had announced the US-India Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technology, ICET, for elevating and expanding strategic technology, partnership, and defense industrial cooperation between the governments, businesses, and academic institutions of the two nations. It covered areas including semiconductors, defense innovation, and technology cooperation in space, quantum technology, and more. The leaders reiterated their support for building resilient global semiconductor supply chains, noting in this respect a multi-year initiative of Microchip Technology, Inc., to invest in expanding its research and development presence in India. And Advanced Micro Device, AMD's announcement to invest millions of dollars in India over the next 5 years to expand research, development, and engineering operations in India. The leaders expressed satisfaction at the ongoing implementation of announcements made in June 2023 by U.S. companies Micron, Lam Research, and Applied Materials. PM Modi and U.S. President Biden welcomed intensified consultations between the relevant entities on both sides to expand opportunities for facilitating India-U.S. collaboration in nuclear energy, including in the development of next-generation small modular reactor technologies in a collaborative mode. The U.S. reaffirmed its support for India's membership in the Nuclear Suppliers Group and committed to continue engagement with like-minded partners to advance this goal. The G20, under the Indian Presidency, should convene virtually towards the end of November to take stock of the progress made on the proposals received during the concluded September 9-10 summit. Narendra Modi handed over the ceremonial gavel to Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, initiating the process of transition of the president's chair for the next round of the G20 in Brazil. The virtual meeting will be timed with the end of the Indian Presidency, due in November 2023. And now, let us hear from you in the comments section below. Keep in mind that more videos will be up soon. So be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell in order to stay up to date with new video uploads. Also, sharing indicates you want to see our content reach a wider audience. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.